YouTube, what's going on? Today, I'm going to be telling you guys how to deal with powerlifting injuries. Now, am I a certified doctor or whatever? No, not at all. But I'm going to tell you how to safely handle them because I've dealt with a fair amount of them throughout my career, right? So there's two types of injuries in powerlifting. That's it. There's two. I'm sorry if you say that there's another one. There's two. That's it. Either you know exactly what happened, you knew you were doing some exercise and you felt something pop and it hurt and you knew something was wrong, or you don't know where it came from, but it was there, right? You know where the pain is. Maybe you don't know the muscle, but it came out of nowhere, but you can't find back to when it happened, right? And so typically these first types, when you knew something happened, something popped, something fell, you felt something, typically those are the worst injuries. Now, am I saying that means that those are the injuries that are going to put you out forever? No, but I'm saying those are typically the worst injuries because those typically like tears, partial tears, pulls, stuff like that. But those also can heal much faster than the injuries that you don't know where they came from. The injuries that just popped up out of nowhere and magically one day you started feeling a little pain, soreness, and it got worse and worse and worse, and then it stopped you from feeling injury. So I think the first thing that you need to do is you need to find, like, do I know when this happened and do I know how this was, or do I not know when this happened and this is just magically kind of spawned into my lifting? And the reason I say that you need to know this is because if you do go talk to a doctor or you go to a chiropractor, physical therapist, whatever, they want to know exactly what you were doing, how, like, if you were squatting, how far into the movement were you? Because when you're able to tell a doctor, whoever, all of these details and come down to the slightest detail, it's much easier to figure out, what muscle was activated at what time, and then they can go back and, help you do that movement again to find what the injury was. Now, if you don't know what happened, this is when it gets much harder. And so I got 3 points today, 3 things to do on what to do if you got hurt, what steps to take, right? And so my first one is going to be do research, period. I literally just got over an injury that I was going to PT for. I'm probably still going to get an MRI from it just to be sure. I mean, I was going to PT, I'm going to get an MRI, I was going to doctors, stuff like that. I got an x-ray the whole time that I was at PT. So this injury that I was dealing with was short piriformis syndrome. It pushes on your sciatic nerve, leading down a shooting pain down your leg. And for me, this only hurt when I was sumo deadlifting, right? Conventional deadlifting a little bit too, yeah. I felt a conventional deadlift, in my conventional deadlift quite a few times. I'm finally finding more out about this. But the reason that I say do your own research, even if it's a pec tear, you tore your pec off the freaking bone, bro. Do your research onto on what happened, right? And so for me, my injury, my symptoms, it didn't come out it didn't just happen like this. Like the first way, it happened the second way, right? Where magically, like, it was there, I kind of noticed it got worse, and one day I couldn't pull 485 off the ground, right? That's something that I bench. I couldn't pull 485 off the ground. I was like, shoot, there's an injury here. Now what I needed to do was go and do my own research. So I did where I made the mistake on this is I did some of my own research and I followed through with it, but I didn't follow through enough, right? I found out, like, okay, there's muscles in the glute, right? Because I knew it was something glute related, something kind of in my upper hamstring, glute, something like that. I did all the research on everything around there, right? Which you should do. You should find out all the muscles around there. If you tear your pec off the bone, it's no doubt you tore your pec off the bone. Like, it is hanging down here. Go ahead and just make sure, like, look at other muscles around it, just so you know that maybe if other muscles are affected. You see what I'm saying? Know what you're doing. Understand what's happening. And so once I started, like, researching this, I didn't research deep enough into the fact that the sciatic nerve could be under pressure. But even when I did look up the sciatic nerve, all I found was, the stretch where you lean your head down and then you kick a leg, and if it's from, like, your broken back or herniated disc in your back or something, and I'm like, okay, well, my back's perfectly fine, I just got an x-ray, right? No, there's other things out there, right? There's so much to the human body that we don't really know. So literally, just like last week, as I was doing more and more research, I mean, even today I found out more about it. Doing more and more research, I was able to find out that it's not my piriformis muscle. I have piriformis syndrome, which is the tightening of the muscle, like the muscle being super, super tight, pushing on the nerve. And I only would have known that because I did my own research. Therapists, physical therapists, chiropractors, doctors, all those people are great, right? And especially MRIs and X-rays, stuff like that. I mean, they could tell you like just about everything, but they're not you. You know what you're going through. So go and do your own research. You are a fool if you just let somebody tell you exactly like what everything that you're doing, right? And honestly, that's what I let the PT people do for me for a while. While it was helping, I knew the whole time that it wasn't on, but it was helping a little bit, but I knew the whole time that what they were doing wasn't hit on. And that's because they were treating me as piriformis long syndrome where I had piriformis short syndrome. And so, yes, do your own research. Simple. Moving on to number 2, actually recover. Actually recover, right? And when I say this, you're like, what do you mean actually recover? I'm sorry, but going out and slamming an 8-pack of beer is not recovering. Now, how does drinking an 8-pack of beer or whatever, how does that relate to like if you tore your pack off the bone? I don't know. But what I'm saying though is you want to limit your body having to send send its energy towards other parts of your body, right? Like if your stomach is hurting because you just drank an 8-pack of beer, I mean your body is not focused on the injury at hand. It's focused on like your stomach hurting. You see what I'm saying? And when you recover like crap and you feel like crap, well, yeah, your muscles are going to feel like crap. Now, this has no proven study or whatever, but I'm just saying if you are dealing with a real injury and you're going out drinking every night and stupid crap like that, and you feel like crap the next morning, every single freaking morning, I'm telling you right now that you're not going to make any progression. You're not going to make any progression. And so tip number 2, no scientific research on that, but I'm telling you right now, if you feel like crap because you just drank 10 beers, don't expect any injury that you have to get better. I promise you it won't. All right, and then moving on to number 3, which is actually more research-based. Give it time. Give it time. I think everything needs time, right? But real quick, before I get into that, if you tore something off the bone, if you legitimately tore something off the bone, go get the surgery, go see the doctor. If you have any injury and it's really bad, go see the doctor. And then after, give it time. You see what I'm saying? What I'm talking about, give it time, is if you are dealing with an injury that seems like it could heal itself with time off, give it the time as the first response. Time off should be your first response. And the reason that I say this is because if it's like something like my piriformis, right? If I tore my piriformis, and I partially tore my piriformis, which can heal on its own, which I've looked up, so your piriformis connected to your glute. If I partially tore my piriformis and I kept on, I'm lucky I didn't partially tear my piriformis, because if I did, I kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing, I probably could have torn something else. Luckily, I didn't tear it. But if you hurt something in your body, you are now at a much, much higher risk for other things in your body to be hurt. So if you are benching and you have, something popped in your shoulder, it feels weird. It feels weird in your shoulder. When you bench, it makes everything hurt. If this is the case, if doing the movement you don't feel is making any progress to it, stop doing the movement. Give it time. Go see a doctor, or just give it time before trying it again. If you hurt something in your shoulder and you just keep bench pressing away, it may be unstable and it may actually put more pressure on something like your pec, which can end up leading to a pec tear, which would be a whole nother level of terrible. You see what I'm saying? And same thing goes to somebody who just tore a pec. I know somebody who tore a bicep, right? This is a perfect example. I know somebody who tore a bicep. They tore the bicep bad deadlifting, right? They're pulling mixed grip. They tore this bicep bad. It was really hard to see. It was sad. I felt bad for him. But honestly, speaking for him, he could back me on this. He wanted to get back into the lifting so bad that he started pulling hook grip. The hook grip did not feel good, right? But instead of, being smarter and sticking out with the hook grip, what he did was, where he was pulling like this, he flipped his grip and he started pulling hard on the other way. And while this untrained bicep, right, he was now putting stress on this untrained bicep, literally, I think it was 2 months after his surgery for attaching this bicep right here, he tears his bicep. Worst clips, some of the worst clips I've ever seen in my life. I felt so terrible seeing it happen to him, especially he's such a great guy. But he acknowledged it in the, under his post, saying, yes, I should have taken time off, and give it time. If you just got surgery, if you just got an injury, and time is needed, give it time, right? If it's something like, my shoulder feels a little bit weird, okay, then maybe you go do some shoulder stretches to see if it makes it worse, if it feels better, but don't dive into the lifts that hurt it. You see what I'm saying? And so, I mean, the bicep one, that's probably the hardest for me to even talk about, because I couldn't imagine that happening. Knock on wood that never happens to me. But yeah, so give it time, actually recover. What was the first one? Give it time, actually recover, do your own research, and diagnose if you knew exactly what happened, or if it just slowly came out of nowhere. Hopefully, you guys, if you're pressing on this video and you're dealing with an injury, hopefully it's going on the right track. Hopefully some of these tips could help you get back on the right track. And guys, go ahead, like, subscribe, Blakewendt1 out.